Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dollar Auction Show with Alex and Shimon, celebrating the wonderful first week of the Iran war. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Lots to talk about.
Yes, it is. Well, I don't know when. Definitely, we recorded last before the war started. So, yeah, I have to tell you, I personally am very happy about two main things. One is that Trump just said on CNN that he will not accept anything except unconditional surrender,
Yeah.
which is huge. Two, he said that he has no problem with like a religious person leading the country as long as they have good, attitude towards the US and Israel, which is I think fantastic because you do have 30% um of the population that's like very religious, and it would be hard for them to just like for it to become a complete secular country, and then you could have an insurgency. So I think those two things are great, and then the other thing is the performance seems to be really good of the militaries. Like from what I heard that was very interesting is they had this AI tool that they didn't use in the 12 days war, because they knew that if they show this tool to the Iranians, it would basically burn it. And it allows any missile that's launched within 4 minutes, you can hit the launcher.
Oh,
So it's something really really crazy. Palantir, I don't know if it's Palantir specifically, but the way the video described it, it's a way to close the loop between all the satellites and all the planes and all the drones and all the data that's being collected from all of that to identify the launchers and hunt them down. So that's what's exciting to me. What's exciting to you? Oh, and we got all their navy. They have no more navy.
well, they have a navy. They have 30 ships. I think we got like 17 of them.
No, we got 30.
Really?
I think we got 30. I think. Well, I'm getting all my numbers confused. But how many Iranian
Well, we got a lot of ships. We got a lot of ships.
sink? Okay. Uh, It says here that according to Gemini AI, the US military has sunk or destroyed more than 30 Iranian
Oh,
naval
wow.
vessels. Yeah, and a lot of it happened like overnight.
Tonight? It's interesting.
So on March 4th, officials stated that the number had exceeded 20 vessels.
Yeah,
And
that's a
on
number.
March 6th, which is today, Admiral Brad Cooper confirmed that over 30 warships have been destroyed or sunk.
Wow. Well, I listen. Well, I'm happy because the regime needed to go. Um, I am optimistic that this will bring peace to the Middle East. Um, there's a fog of war, and so there are headlines are coming out like the Arab countries are pissed at the U.S. And that they're thinking of pulling back from U.S. investments. That would not be good. The other kind of not good sign is that there was a billionaire businessman in Dubai in the Emirates, and he came out. It basically is like, Trump, why did you plunge our region into war? He would not have done it without knowing how the government would respond, or without some sort of implicit okay from the government. So there's definitely tension. Then what Spain and especially the UK is shown to be feckless and weak. The UK especially. The question is, will somebody do something about it? Cyprus now is rumored to reconsider the air bases. They have two Royal Air Force bases in Cyprus to reconsider granting them the land. So there's a lot of kind of geopolitics involved. Like, Trump is doing a very bold strategy here. It's really to weaken China. And over the last 7 days, Chinese planes haven't been flying around Taiwan. The question is why, right? Like, are they also getting? There's two schools of thought in China. One school of thought is, okay, well, they're going to see that the U.S. military is actually performing at a high rate and knocking out all of their air defenses because the Chinese technology is supporting, and the Chinese and Russian are helping Iran. Second school of thought is, well, the U.S. is weak and distracted. Now is the time to go into Taiwan. And it's all about these. It's all about a global kind of uh, uh, game theory where, it's like there's a race for AI, and we don't want China to win it. The part of that is chips, which Trump came out and said he's banning all chip exports to anyone. unless he explicitly agrees to it. There's inference models, there's energy. China has a lot more energy than us. And then there was an interesting point that Ben Thompson from Sachakari made on an A16Z podcast. And he said, hey, did you hear this podcast by
No, I
chance?
didn't. I mean,
He
I know
made,
the podcast, not this episode.
yeah, he made a very interesting point. He's like, look, there's an equal, if you get into a game where if AI is all powerful and you have the superior AI and China doesn't, then as you're getting this AI, China sees it's falling further and further behind. Their only or the most rational move they have is to attack. Because if they don't attack now, well, they will never, they won't be able to attack kind of later. And that's actually not good, right? So he's like, look, the best thing to do is have more or less like a nuclear kind of style where you have more or less at parity AI, and then that at parity AI is maybe ours is a little bit better, but the Chinese is not that much worse. And although with AI, it's very hard to say, well, what does it mean to be a little bit better, right? It's almost like an all nothing game because AI or the nature of it. But there is something to be said about, hey, if China feels desperate and they really don't trust us and we're about to get this AI, they might attack and out of desperation, right? Just to kind of hit our data centers or hit whatever it is. So it's a big geopolitical game that involves cutting off China from choke points, which they've been cutting us off of, which is like the Straits, the Strait of Hormuz, the Strait next to Taiwan, the Arctic, um, a game of the petrodollar, who's using what currency. It's a very complicated global game, but ultimately it's all about us versus China and us reinserting uh, our dominance over our hemisphere. What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's good, but before I tell you what I think, couldn't understand what is your personal opinion. You said that some Gulf states are pissed. You said that China might attack now or might attack later, and you said
Yeah,
that it could be good or it could be bad. So, what do you think would be the outcome? And then I can
you,
tell you what
you
I
want to you want to put me on the record like a politician. That
No,
was sort of
no,
what.
no,
No,
no.
no,
It's
I can
not.
tell you. I can tell you.
You're
That's
not
a.
promising anything. I just, given everything that you know, right? Because
I'm
you're right.
happy with
There's a
it.
fog of war, and I also don't know. But given everything that you know now, if you just had to guess, where
I'm
do you
happy
see?
with it. I'm proud to be American for the first time in a very long time. The regime had to go. The regime was the biggest state sponsor of terror all over the Middle East, with hoping that the Iranian regime actually falls. And I'm very happy that Trump said unconditional surrender only as well, because then they stop funding these crazy like the Hamas and Hezbollah groups. And once that happens, then we can finally solve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And by the way, and for the record, no one on the other Arab countries couldn't give less than a shit about the Palestinians. They just actually don't care. They're using them as a scapegoat or as a distraction from their own policies or something to as a pressure point on Israel. Once the funding for like the crazy Muslim Brotherhood connected Hamas, Hezbollah groups are gone, if they create peace and we remove that chip off the table and you can have Saudi Arabia and others signing peace deals with Israel, finally, then you can have actually lasting peace and a lasting boom in the Middle East. Israel, Lebanon. I mean, Israel, Lebanon, Egypt, the beaches over there, the tourism that can come. Gaza, you can rebuild Gaza and have amazing, like GDP and leisure. And by the way, in the age of AI, where we might not need to work and might want to travel and have more time for leisure, where else better to go but like you
Gaza.
know yeah, like a rebuild Gaza and Israel and Lebanon, like a Beirut to Cairo trip, like all through just Beirut to like through Israel to Gaza through Sinai. How amazing would that be? Like it would just be, this would be the height of tourism of, I don't know, global wealth will flow there. I'm very optimistic.
Yeah. Well, I'm optimistic too. I think for me, the big kind of I'm less worried about China attacking. I really don't think, I think they're smart people. Like I give the Chinese a lot of credit, and I think one of the things that I saw now when a senior Chinese analyst say what we've learned from this war is the only thing that can stop American forces is their will to not use it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important because, like, in Iraq and Afghanistan, people were like, okay, like 9/11 was such a big deal that we know that the Americans can take any country they want. But since then, 25 years have passed, right? And like we just haven't been able to effectively use our force. And you look at Obama and you look at Biden, and it was just like there was a very clear strategy of like force is not the answer, right? And the problem is that when people think that you're weak, then they start doing things like invading Ukraine, like saber rattling around Taiwan and all of these things. And even Iran, right? I don't think if the US were strong, maybe they wouldn't be so blatant. They're so stupid. Apparently what they did is that they did just the most blatant thing, which is like after telling Witkoff and Kushner, we can build 11 nukes and there's nothing you can do to stop us, they just like moved everything underground in a way that it cannot be stopped. And so then we had to attack. And that's why I have a friend who hates Israel. And I'm not going to mention him by name, but he's really against this war in Iran. He's American, and he's like, oh, we're just doing this for Israel, we're killing US soldiers just to serve the Zionist masters of
Oh my
the
God.
US government. And I'm like, would you have supported attacking Hitler in World War II? Because there was a big faction in the US that said, yeah, we should crush Japan because Japan attacked us, but like, why should we care about Europe? And so I feel that all these people that object
What did
to
he say to
war,
this?
what?
What did he
He
say to
said,
that?
well, no, it's not exactly the same thing because Hitler declared war, so there was no like actual dilemma. And but he basically, they when I say, look, there's forces of good and forces of evil in the world, right? And sometimes the forces of good have to use force to neutralize the forces of evil. Why is that such a hard thing to understand? Not always, but sometimes in history those things happen, right? Like the Ottoman Empire had to be stopped. The Muslim conquest of Vienna, had to be stopped. The Genghis Khan, right, had to be stopped. So it's like sometimes you have forces of evil. And you know what these people say? They say, well, North Korea has nukes too. And I'm like, yeah, but North Korea literally has not threatened any other country. Like I went into a text debate with him last night, and he's like, of course, North Korea are threatening to destroy South Korea. It's like, no, they're not. I literally looked at all the public statements of North Korea, and they say, if South Korea attacks us, then we will obliterate them. But the specific goal of North Korea is to reunify with South Korea under Kim Jong-un, right? What does Iran say? Do they want to reunify with Israel under Khamenei? No, they want to destroy Israel. They literally say we should destroy Israel. We should wipe Israel off the face of the earth. We should destroy the Jewish state. So like there's no other country. India and Pakistan are another good example, right? They both have nukes, but they both said it's only if the other person attacks us. Like both India and Pakistan have never said we're going to destroy you with our nukes. And so I think that's like very important. Like a country that really threatens to destroy another country and has nukes, it's okay to use force to stop them from doing that. And so
Yeah.
I just like, yeah, fine. If you think it's never okay to use force, then good luck to you. That's why you'll never be in power. Like that's why libertarians are never in power, because like other people who think that it is okay to use force will just conquer your ass. So it's like it's very simple. And I care about the Palestinians. I want there to be peace. And I think literally, look, this wasn't the case. It's a relatively new thing that Iran is the only one opposing peace. There was a time,
Yeah.
while the USSR existed, all Arab countries except Egypt thought that they could destroy Israel just because it was Israel as a proxy of the US and we're a proxy of the USSR. After the USSR collapsed, that's when they started doing peace with the Palestinians, peace with Jordan. They wanted to do peace with Syria. But there was still this question of like, we are like 400 million Muslims, or like there's even a billion, but like, let's say Indonesia doesn't count. So like there's like 400 million Muslims in the Middle East, and there's 10 million like Israelis. So they still kind of had hope. But like with the Abraham Accords and with technology and with all the economic growth that Israel has had, Iran has left to be the only one that still just wants to destroy Israel. Like, why would you want to destroy Israel? It doesn't bother anybody. The Palestinians in the West Bank, they have like really good life. Like if you look at GDP per capita. Now, it's not good that they can't vote. It's terrible. I want them to be able to vote one day. Hopefully we can get to a place where they can vote, for their own local thing. People think about like, the West Bank being like the Vatican. It's like it's its own state, but it's surrounded by another state. So, but you
Yeah.
still have your own policy. So, like, and now what I'm worried about is just short term oil prices can spike because nobody knows how many drones they have, and these drones can really hurt the oil fields. But hopefully we thought of that. I mean, hopefully the planners in the Pentagon, that's like pretty much the first thing they thought about, which is like, how do we make sure that they can't keep bombing the oil fields, a week or two into the war? I hope that somebody has a plan.
Well, there are all these rumors that the U.S. reached out to Ukraine for help. By the way, the irony is that Europe needs Ukraine more than Ukraine needs Europe now, from an army military perspective.
Yeah.
That's just, and that a few weeks ago it came out that late in 25 there were war games between Ukraine and NATO troops, and 10 Ukraine soldiers took out two brigades of NATO troops. And they took them out so fast that the NATO troops couldn't even get their drones up in the air before they were taken out. This is just,
The NATO troops couldn't cork back their wine
yeah.
before the missile hit.
Exactly. No, without NATO, without the U.S., NATO is literally absolutely nothing. I mean, and these guys are, and then to listen to these sanctimonious assholes in Europe, to just like the Spanish leaders and all this, like, oh, Trump and this, and it's like, it's just, it pisses me off of people, especially on the left, that are so righteous about their position when you know that the only reason they're even in the position to talk is because of the US or because of something you do. Yet they're righteous about their rights and things, it's this, I don't know. It's like the world has gone, I don't have the right words for it, unfortunately, but the world has gone off the deep end. It's just completely absurd. Meanwhile, I think Israel is positioning itself to be a serious, like what Iran was in the Middle East. I think Israel will now be in the Middle East, and the UAE. The UAE has been doing a great job. They keep on tweeting about, it's like this concerted campaign. We're safe. We're safe. Don't worry. Come here. We're safe. We're safe. Which the whole thing is a safe country, So if they lose that, I think that's a big deal. We're also seeing that China and Russia are providing some intelligence, obviously, to Iran and air defense systems, but those are getting annihilated and obliterated.
We know the data quality of Chinese teams. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
yes,
It's
it's
like,
true.
here, coordinate in there, coordinate in CSV. Why
Yes,
you not open CSV with coordinate?
we have worked at a Chinese company, and we are familiar with some of the robustness of the like if your boss tells you to do it, it will be very well done, it will be deep. But if your boss doesn't tell you to do it, it's like whatever. But no, this is a big show of force. Now look, if this gamble plays off, if Trump can and the US can actually do it, which I'm obviously rooting for, then it cements our position as like then stocks are going to rip. I mean, everything that we do is just everyone's going to get in line around the US. And we're going to get rid of this bullshit concept of international law. It's like everyone speaks, you must abide by these international laws, like, or else what? Well, what are you going to do, England, with your ship still in port a week after the war started, and now there's delays of getting it out of port? Your only ship in the area that can do anything. It's just so crazy. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
The
the best thing
mighty
is they
British.
asked the
Yeah.
British defense minister, it's like, why didn't you send the ships like ahead of time to Cyprus? And he's like, because the Americans have a ship there. Like he
Crazy.
literally said in our interview, people are like, this should end his career because like it's the Americans asked you to send it. It's one thing if the Americans didn't ask you for help, right? And you're like, okay, they can handle themselves. They haven't asked. But literally they asked for help. And the UK didn't give the help. And their reason for not giving them the help is that the people who requested help are already there. Like how like if I say, hey, Alex, can you please help me? You're like, yes, Shimon, where are you? I'm like, I'm in Georgetown. And you're like, oh, okay, Shimon's already in Georgetown. I don't need to go to Georgetown. It's like, that's the reason for my call. Like,
Yes.
it's, it's the craziest thing ever.
No,
No,
no.
and the crazy thing is that these people in Europe, they're very good at talking, but like sometimes there's such a thing as reality.
Yes.
Like things actually happen in the actual world. And so talking doesn't help. You have to take action, and they're just like not good. Oh man. But anyway, what do you think this will do to the markets kind of in I don't know how long until the markets start recovering.
I mean, I think the war needs to end or needs to be seen as ramping up because we're now the rumors that China and Russia are going to enter the war, not directly, but with supplies, and especially China is going to supply Iran with supplies, with missiles, with
But
spare
they
parts.
can't. No, no, they can't. I just heard a podcast. There's no way to fly anything into Iran.
Go through the Strait of Hormuz.
I mean, that isn't that why we destroyed the navy so we can just like blockade them?
Yeah, sure, but who are you going to blockade? The Chinese ship, and then you have a direct confrontation with China.
Well, no, you just blockade the ports. You don't allow the Chinese ship to enter the port. Like you don't have
We're not
to.
going to put our carriers or our navy ships right inside the port because they can be attacked by drones or by missiles.
It's like saying
One would say.
why doesn't Venezuela get like.
No, but it's very different. It's very, very different. Chinese get the oil from Iran. They're pressuring Iran to keep the strait open. We could have taken out their navy. We're not going to move our ship. In fact, we're moving ships back because of some of their rocket and drone strikes. Move the air carrier back. I forgot how many
Yeah, well,
kilometers,
I
but
don't know. I that's beyond my depth. No pun intended.
yes. But I think if a Chinese ship comes, unless we shoot at the Chinese ship, that's going to be a serious game of chicken. You know, so this is I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, and then there's hopefully we got the Kurds that are coming in from the west, from the northwest into Iran because they want their own country. That's going to be a bit of a shit show. I don't know. The exit plan is difficult. It's always easy to get in, hard to get out.
Yeah, we'll see. It is definitely easy to get in and hard to get out, but I hope that they basically are able to figure something out because really everybody's against Iran now. I mean, China. I don't think China will supply them with stuff. I don't know exactly how to explain why, but I don't know. I think it would be such a big gap. It's just like when China wanted to give air defenses to Iran, then Israel said we're going to give Iron Dome to Taiwan, and then they backed off and they didn't give air defenses.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the US can do something similar, right? To say like if you give weapons to Iran, then we will do X, Y, and Z. That's not like opening fire on your ship, but it's like I don't know.
Can I change the subject for you to private credit? Did you
Yes.
see BlackRock stopped withdrawals from their private credit fund? $26 billion fund. They stopped withdrawals.
Yeah. Did they stop it or did
They
they
did.
limit
Limited, it doesn't matter, but as long as you add any kind of friction.
it?
I think this is what the next, 2008 is private credit. I think it's a market that's just completely built. It's a bit of a Ponzi, and we're seeing the jobs report.
Oh my God. I'm so mad at the jobs report. How hard is it to count jobs? Why do they
It's
have
a
to keep
survey
revising it?
because it's a
No,
survey.
but the IRS knows when I am employed and when I am not employed. Because to get my paycheck, I need to, submit my social security number.
Yeah,
So why is it hard to know how many people started work this month?
I don't
You
know.
literally have to fill out a form when you start work. And that form goes to the federal government.
Yeah,
I'm seriously asking
I don't
because
know.
they keep
I
saying
can't.
we revised last month's data and the data of 2 months ago, and it's like why? What changed? But anyway, jobs are looking terrible. Um, Oil looks that it can go up, which can hurt the stock market. I mean,
Oil's
look,
at 90.
it's
Yeah.
looking pretty choppy, pretty choppy. The only question I have is like how long
No,
until
no.
the government starts pumping liquidity.
This is not pretty choppy. This is
What
a
the?
straight up
I don't see. Oh yeah, crude oil. Did you buy?
crude. I did not buy. I should have. We talked about buying, but I don't know the markets well enough, and I don't know what he can do. Like he's talking about as soon as Thursday. I don't know when Thursday was. Yesterday that they're going to come up with what they can do with futures and so on to study the markets. Who the heck knows? I mean, who the heck knows? But
Yeah,
uh,
that's what I'm saying. It's like really hard to commodities are a really hard game because like you can produce more of them when the price goes up. And
yeah,
so yeah, I did not play these markets. I'm just waiting for the stock market and Bitcoin to recover. And I think that would be a function of liquidity. I just wanted to say I feel very optimistic about both the stock market and Bitcoin because it's a heads you win, tails you lose scenario. So basically, if the war goes really well, like you said, the stock market will pump, oil prices will go down, everything will be great. If the war drags on and goes poorly and we start seeing like, stock market crash, that's a perfect excuse to print more money. So I really think that I'm much, much happier now than I
Yeah.
was, let's say, before the war started, like mid last month. Because mid last month it was like stocks are kind of high, Bitcoin is at 62,000, and it's this muck that like it's not going anywhere. Now at least there's like movement.
The muck. I love
Seriously,
the.
that's how February felt to me. It's like the like Nasdaq was flat but high. Bitcoin was not flat but low. So it's yeah.
Overall, you're somewhere in the middle.
No, so now I really think also like what I think is the data centers and all of these things, we will need more energy to produce military hardware. Like people have been saying how we're underinvesting in military, right? And that requires a lot of energy. And so that will help with the data centers and with the AI. So I really think that basically the world is getting into a stage now of producing more stuff. I sent you a really interesting chart that correlates, and this is purely a correlation, it's not causation, because there's a third factor affecting both. But basically, every time that oil goes up, Bitcoin goes up a lot, right? And you can think of like why. It could be like a reaction to uncertainty. It could be money printing. It could be many things.
Yeah.
But like now we're definitely in a scenario where oil is going up. So I really hope that Bitcoin will go up. And yeah, the case for industry is much easier when the industry is military as opposed to we want to build a data center. You know what I mean? So it's like when you say we want to build a data center, it's like, this stupid AI is polluting. But when you're like, no, we need interceptor missiles. Otherwise, like Washington, D.C. is not protected from a barrage of like missiles, then it's like, you get the energy for that. Am I right? I mean, I think politically that's how it works.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This is. I think you're right, but I don't know. Like we've been doing this podcast. I just had a meta thought. We've been doing this podcast
Seven
for
years.
huh?
7 years, no?
7 years. But this whole time, by the way, since 21, or since even we started with COVID or right after COVID, we've been living through completely unprecedented. Like this whole
Yeah.
decade has been the other decades in contrast, like, oh, social media. It's like AI, war, geopolitical realignment, new money, pandemic, the COVID,
Tariffs.
everything. What? Terror.
Tariffs.
It's just
Like,
like,
crazy.
it is pretty crazy. Like if we can live through this, whenever we will have like you'll have this big world change at some point in maybe a few years, everything will come down. Then everything should rip. Like it should be just like at some point everybody's gonna be tired of fighting. It's like okay, let's have a breather for 20 years. It's like whoop.
That's a very good point, actually. I didn't think of that. That the amount of pain that people had to go through since COVID is like maybe that's how we pay for a very sustainable market. That's a
I
that's
think
a
there's
very
been
good.
a lot of pain.
There's
Just
been so
like
much, I know, and it's like we're kind of lucky because we're working in a industry that's kind of dynamic and stuff. But people are really afraid for their jobs because of AI and all of that, and so it's just like I don't know. I think it's fourth turning, my friend.
I
We've spoken about the fourth turning. The question is, when did it start? When will it end? But
have the book. I need to read it.
maybe this war with Iran is the nail in the coffin of the end of the fourth turning, and then it doesn't turn into World War III, and then everything starts getting better and better.
Or maybe we are in World War III. Just looks different. You know what I mean? Like World War before the World Wars, the one and two World Wars, like England versus France, they would slaughter each other in the battlefield. Then it was like tanks, and it was Ukraine is the closest thing to the old conventional war. Maybe these new wars are like proxy wars or geopolitical plus economical wars. It just looks different,
I mean, proxy wars are exactly what's not World War II, right? The idea was that after World War II, we only went to proxy wars to prevent World War III.
No, what I mean is, but to prevent World War III in the same style as World War II, I'm saying, what if this major thing is just one long? Then there won't be any kind of world wars. When we're not going to all attack each other. If we do that, we're going to use nukes and we're all dead.
Yeah, I
So,
honestly think that basically all these like crazy amount, like I'm a history buff, as many of the podcast listeners know, and like so many people in World War II were killed just because, like, again, it was unprecedented. They would capture like 200,000 Russian soldiers, like the Nazis, and then they would be like, we don't have food for them, so we'll just like let them starve to death. Like, you know what I mean? It's like many of these things were just like not even. It wasn't like the Holocaust where it was like planned,
yeah,
we are going to exterminate 6 million Jews. It was more like just the circumstances. So maybe humanity just became better at projecting force without losing as many people. Because like losing people is bad. It's bad like on three levels, right? It's bad because you lose the tax revenue from that person. It's bad because you don't get the next generation. Basically, Russia never recovered, from World War II
yeah.
in terms of population. And it's bad for innovation because like all these people are not going to be, coming up with new breakthroughs, or less of them, or how many people that could have come up with breakthroughs died in the war, in World War I and World War II. So maybe humanity is just like, okay, let's figure out how to fight, but without killing as many people. I mean, how many died in Ukraine? It's 2 million by now.
I mean, who knows? Maybe a million each side,
Yeah.
and then maybe another million may like seriously wounded.
Well,
Maybe
so
2 million each
that's
side.
significant.
That's
Like
huge.
when have 2 million people died
No, it's
before?
huge. It's
Like in
huge.
Korea, I don't think in Vietnam, I don't think it
No,
was in that order of
but
magnitude. So yeah,
Ukraine is
in a
like,
sense, you're right. We are in World War III since the invasion.
yeah. I think that's kind of the big hot war, and us and it's interesting. U.S. Iran. There's not a lot of deaths in Iran. I mean, like 1,000. They said 1,000 deaths, and I'm sure there'll be some collateral damage, and very few U.S. deaths, if like 6, 7, or something along those lines. Now we don't have boots on the ground, but
Well,
Ukraine,
no, you
Russia
could
is.
say that there's 30,000 deaths from the protesters
Yes,
that the
I'm just
government
saying
killed.
yes. There's 30,000, but outside of that, the Ukraine Russia is trench warfare. I mean, literally. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. No, Ukraine, Russia is different because it's also two countries that have a border that are fighting versus, Israel, Iran, US, Iran.
yeah.
It's like it's harder. Even with Gaza, it's the death toll is much higher because again, you just like go with your soldiers into the ground. And so I hope that this won't be like a huge thing. But we'll see. We'll see. Nobody knows, and I definitely don't want to predict anything. I just think eliminating a force of evil will be good long term for the financial markets. But short term,
And the
we'll face
world and
pain.
people.
But I still think it's like a heads you win, tails I lose scenario if I'm not Bitcoin.
All right, my friend.
Well, this
It's
was
a
great.
good
Stay
catching
safe,
up.
everyone. And yeah, until next time,
Until next time.
have a good one.